Hey, good morning. Michael DDA here. Or maybe it's good afternoon for you, or evening, depending on what part of the world you're in. We're going through Torah. We're almost done. We're going to 33 today. We might even finish 34, but we still have some things to talk about. I wanted to take you through what Yasher has to say, and then we're also going to go to maybe the first 5 chapters of Joshua before we begin again at Torah. Oh, I wish I was about 3 weeks earlier than I am right now. But that's all we can do. I only say that because we are getting ready to finish Deuteronomy. When we finish Deuteronomy, what's going to happen? We're going to cross over the Jordan. We're going to circumcise all of our ger and their sons and all the men of their household, and they are going to become the Ezra men. They're the ones who are going to get possession of the land in Israel. Wow. Well, I only say that because this Saturday night is Passover. This Saturday night could be the day that a nation is born in a day. You have learned lies. We have learned lies. Thinking that somehow the nation was born in a day in 1948? Folks, that is nothing but doctrines and traditions of men. That is not Yehovah's people, that the people they call themselves Israel. They're going down. You can't call yourself Yehovah's people and not obey his statutes and his judgments and his ordinances. They're going to be probably the first to go down. Because Yehovah is getting ready to raise up the nation that is born in a day at Passover. That nation is Israel, the Ezra men. The ger can draw near, circumcise all the men of his household, and draw near and keep the Passover. He becomes the Ezra. Well, so much to learn. But again, I wish that I was doing this just a little bit sooner. But you know what? For those who have eyes to see, who have a heart that wants to understand and a mind, it's there on my site. Search out all the things that I write about Passover. Let me just go there real quick. Here it is. My site. If you drop down to right here, Passover links, there's a lot of information regarding Passover. If you don't know about the ger and the Ezra, come up here and learn. The Gentile becomes a ger. I've got 4 series of articles, all articles, easy to read. I've got 4 series of how the Gentile becomes a ger, and then how that ger becomes the Ezra. I'll show you how important it is in these last days in the Virgin of Israel articles. And I'll show you where these servants of Elohim are in the scriptures. Oh, so much to learn. Here is a link on how to keep the Passover. We're doing it like this on Saturday. We hardly deviate from it. Easy. The first one is hard. I remember the first one I did. It was difficult. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. But you know what? Every year it's gotten easier. We've got it down to an art form now. We know how to add the spices. We know how to do everything to make our lamb, our goat really is what we use, delicious. We're using just a little guy this year. He must going to be probably about 25 pounds. He's going to cook fast, probably an hour, hour and a half max. Well, these are things that we've got to learn about. But keeping a true Passover, Remember, did he ever tell the Gentiles to keep the Passover? No, he tells his people to keep the Passover, those who have left Egypt and their rulers. All right, well, so we're talking about the Ezra men. Let's look at the song once again that we've been talking about for these last 2 weeks. It is the Song of Moses. It's the song that we are going to sing to the world. Okay, he gave it to us as a song. Why does he give it to us as a song? To help us learn it. Unfortunately, we don't know the chords. We don't know the melody. You know, I learned the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. But we learn it that way so that we can remember it. Okay, we, Israel, the Ezra men, who he talks about right here, it's corrupted. The children of Israel. Through the years, 3 years now, that we have been going through Torah, we have made changes from the sons of Israel to Israel's son to Israel's seed. This is what we're talking about. Israel's seed. The song that we are going to sing is sung by Israel's seed to all the other people who are calling themselves Israel who aren't Israel. And we've got a whole world full of people today who think they are Yehovah's men, and worse, women, who aren't. Don't have a clue how to become his man. They're a bunch of Gentiles trying to keep the Father's statutes, the Creator's statutes, judgments, and ordinances. He's not their father. He's not their father until they become an Ezra. No, we have much to learn. Most of us are still worshiping the golden calf. Who's the golden calf? Yeshua. He's the golden calf. He's the one that you put in place of Yehovah to turn you away from his statutes, his judgments, his ordinances. We don't even know about the Ger and the Ezra, yet how many times? Hundreds, perhaps 1,000 times in Torah, we've seen the Ger and the Ezra. But most people don't even know who the Ger and the Ezra are. They think children of Israel, and they think children of Israel is everybody. Yeah, I can't even say he's the Ezra and the Ger because they don't know who the Ger and the Ezra are. No, they just think it's everybody. Folks, you learned lies. You got to move on. Well, so this is the song that we're going to sing. We learned the song over the last 2 weeks. I'm not going to go through the song again. The most important thing I saw last week was to say that he says, I am Yehovah, and besides me there is no Elohim. Well, now we're dropping down to the end. Yehovah has just told Moses that he is going to die. He says, verse 32:49, go up to this mountain of the Avarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, across from Jericho. View the land of Canaan, which I give to who? Israel's seed. Israel's seed, the Ezra men, as a possession. He says, and die. Ooh, bummer. On the mountain which you ascend, and be gathered to your people. just as Aaron, your brother, died on Mount Hor and was gathered to his people. Because you transgressed against me among Israel's seed at the waters of Meribah Kadesh. Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. Because you did not hallow me in the midst of Israel's seed. Did you notice? There's only about 15 times that it actually says Israel's seed. B'nai Israel in Deuteronomy. Probably half of those times are in this chapter and the next. Probably more than half. All the rest of the times he's talking about Yehovah, your Elohim, Yehovah, my Elohim, Yehovah, thy Elohim, Yehovah, our Elohim. But he's always talking about the Ezra men. They're synonymous with Israel's seed, B'nai Israel, the spiritually born men, generations of men. Remember, that's what B'nai is. It's all about generations of men. Seed. That's why I like the word seed. It's a wonderful word. So, Moses trespassed against Yehovah in front of Israel's seed. Failed to hallow him before them. Ooh, that's setting a really bad example. Yet you shall see the land before you. You'll see it. You won't go in, but you'll see it. Though you shall not go there into the land which I am giving to Israel's seed. Now look at how unwielding, I think, is the word that I used. I guess it's not in this note, but well, maybe it is in this note. Yeah, here it is. Why was Yehovah so unwielding concerning Moses not going into the land? These are questions that we have to ask ourselves. I mean, Yehovah makes a very big deal out of this. You know what? Moses was supposed to go into the land. Aaron was supposed to go into the land. But they did something wrong. Here's what I put. I think he violated a shadow picture that was important to Yehovah. And by making such a big deal out of it here, he brings it back into focus. He brings it back to the forefront. Moses has to pay for it with his life to bring it back to our eyes so that we can see it. And I think Yehovah actually is even using it to a bigger advantage by having Moses die. What was this sin? I made a note about this called Moses' sin. It's a topic note. But I want you to see one more time this. We're talking about this day. Same day. Same day. Here's Deuteronomy 31. Remember how Deuteronomy 31 started? I'm going to lock this one in. Look at how Deuteronomy 31 started. It says, I am 120 years old today. 120 years old today. We saw that today, the today that we're talking about was what? His birthday, but it's also the same day that he's going to die. All through Deuteronomy, it's about today. And I suggested that maybe that's part of the reason why there's some, dare I say, corruption in Deuteronomy. Doesn't agree with the rest of Torah in many, many places. We've seen it over and over and over again. Is it because he was getting a bit addled in his old age? So here he's writing this song, on his birthday. He says, therefore, Moses wrote this song the same day and taught it to Israel's seed. So we learned the song on the same day. Okay, that brings us into chapter 32. Now, if I go back down to the note I was just in, 32:50, we will see, yeah, here it is. Look what it says. This is again the today. This is Deuteronomy 4. So all of Deuteronomy we're going to see is all about this day. But I must die in this land. I must not cross over the Jordan, but you shall cross over and possess the good land. Who's he talking to? Israel's seed, B'nai Israel. Now, then it says in Deuteronomy 31:14, then Yehovah said to Moses, behold, the day approaches when you must die. So I thought this is the day he's going to die. See, there's corruption here. What's going on? So he says, behold, the day approaches that you must die. Call Joshua, present yourselves in the tabernacle of the meeting that I may inaugurate him. So Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves at the tabernacle of the meeting. Well, what's going on? He says today is the day. And we're going to see in chapter 33. Should I go there? Yeah, I think I'll go there. No, 34. So Moses, the servant of Yehovah, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yehovah. Okay, this is all exactly the same day that we're talking about. Let me go back. What's my point here? Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want you to see yet another corruption in what we're seeing in these scriptures. We're going to see that he's going to die. I don't see it right offhand, but we're going to see that he's going to die on this very day. Oh, here it is. Then Yehovah said to Moses, that very same day, go up to Mount Nebo and die. Yet in 31, it's saying the day is coming. Well, the day is here. Okay, let's find out about the sin of Moses. Here it is. Yehovah told Moses back when we were in Sinai, we needed water. We're all in front of the mountain, and there's no water there. So Yehovah said to Moses, go before the people, take with you some of the elders of Israel. He's going to go before the people. Who's the people? Ezra men. Yes, make sure you understand that. It's not about the ladies. It's not about the servants. It's not about the ger. Okay, this is a renewing of our mind when we get to see this. We started seeing this people early on, and we didn't understand it clearly. But now we know that when we're talking about the people, go before the people, he's not talking about, they're going to see it. Okay, don't get me wrong, but it's not about them. Go before the people. Take with you some of the elders of Israel, men. Go before the men, with men, the elders of those people. Also take in your hand the rod. Remember, we learned that the rod that Moses carried was the rod that was passed down to him through all of the head men of Israel, head men of Yehovah's people. Came down all the way from Enoch, Methuselah, Noah, Shem, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and found its way through, what was his name? Jethro, to his garden where Moses plucked it out of the garden. It's the rod of authority. And there's a rod that the 144,000 are going to have. It's going to be the rod of their mouth. It's the authority of the Father. Let's remember that. So here he comes. Take in your hand your rod, with which you struck the river, and go. Behold, I stand before you there on the rock of Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. So he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the contention of Israel's seed, and because they tempted Yehovah, saying, Is Yehovah among us or not? Okay? Yehovah is among us. This is the first time that it happened, and I want to show you something. Let me go to this. I already pulled it up for you. And I'm going to enlarge my screen here. There it is. This is a dramatic picture of what happened when Moses hit that rock. You know what? I like this picture. This big rock split in two. We knew that. But look at what this picture has. This has the water. I mean, this is an enormous rock. If you go on my site, Biblical Archaeology, there's a video of this rock. A man and a woman walking through this rock. It's very dramatic. But here, look at this is Moses hitting the rock. Aaron and the elders of Israel. Look at the water spurting up. 50, 60, 70 feet in the air. Remember, this is water that's got to water probably close to 2 million people. Probably more. I like this because this shows me Yehovah does things big. He said, hit the rock. And look what happened. Okay, we had the rod. He had the rod. But how many rods is there? One rod. But now he's getting ready to raise up his servants all over the world. What did he say? No longer will it be said, Great is Yehovah, who brought Israel's seed out of the land of Egypt. But great is Yehovah, who brought Israel's seed out of all the places where he had scattered them. Woo-hoo! We don't need a rod. We are going to be the shalach, the sent one of Yehovah, who speaks for him. He speaks through us, but we're going to speak for him as well. We don't have a rod. And Yehovah was trying to set this up for us, but Moses screwed it up. Let's take a look. I'm going to go back. Let me reduce this. Go back to my normal screen. And I want to go back to eSword. Now look what it says here. I'm going to raise this up so we can see it a little better. Then Yehovah spoke to Moses. Take the rod, you and your brother Aaron. Gather the congregation together. Who are we talking about? The congregation. Again, we're talking about Israel's seed. Speak to the rock before their eyes. There's a shadow picture going on here for latter days. And Moses is going to screw it up. And he's got to pay the price because Yehovah's got to bring this back to the forefront. Speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water. Thus you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and the animals. So Moses took the rod from before Yehovah as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock. And he said to them, "Hear now, you rebels!" He's getting into his flesh. Then Moses lifted up his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod. Oh, Moses, why did he do it 2 times? It didn't work the first time. I better try it again. Well, now Yehovah is in a bind, isn't he? Does he not do it? No, he had to do it. But now Moses put out the wrong picture. So Yehovah's got to create the remedy. What's the remedy? You were supposed to go in with the people. No, you're not going to go in with the people. I need people who speak the things that go into with the people. And the water came out abundantly. And the water came out abundantly. And the congregation and their animals drank. Then, who owns the animals? The Ezra men own the animals. That's right. The ladies don't own the animals. The ladies are owned. They're a possession. The children are a possession. The servants are a possession. Then Yehovah spoke to Moses and Aaron, because you did not believe me to hallow me in the eyes of Israel's seed. Therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. I think what Moses did wrong was to do something in the flesh rather than allow it to be done in the spirit and by the strength of Yehovah. Ooh, my goodness, this is amazing. This is about trusting in Yehovah and not trusting in the flesh. We tend to trust in the flesh. That's what we do. It's a difference between the first time we were being delivered from Egypt and the second. His covenant written in the stone and his covenant written in our hearts. The coming servants, I say it that way because I didn't want to say the 144,000. The coming servants will speak just like Joshua did when he spoke to the sun and it stopped. And what they say will come to pass. Instead of using the rod Elohim, see topic note, the rod of Elohim, they will use the rod of their mouths. Yes, well, we're not going to look at the topic note, rod of Elohim. I wanted to show you in my topic note called the rod of Elohim, I've got a long history of the rod. But I want you to see now, remember, he violated what Yehovah planned for him. And as a result, gave Israel's seed the wrong picture. So now he's got to kill Moses to get the right picture. Look what it says in Isaiah 11. Remember, this is all about Israel's seed. It says, there shall come forth a rod from the stem of Jesse. Now, this is not the rod that we're really talking about. This is a shoot of the stem of Jesse. The 144,000, the servants of Yehovah, are likened unto David, the man who had a heart for Yehovah. Had Torah written in their hearts, not on the rocks. It says, shall grow out of his roots, and the spirit of Yehovah shall rest upon him. Okay, who's the him? The branch, the male child. Remember, the male child is Israel. that Yehovah's raising up in the last day, right now, this weekend. He's raising him up. Will you be one of them? Carrie and I will. The spirit of wisdom. Look what they're going to get. When Yehovah brings back Zion, his watchmen will all see eye to eye. What will they have? They will have this. The spirit of Yehovah shall rest upon him. The spirit of wisdom, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of counsel, the spirit of might, the spirit of knowledge, and the fear of Yehovah. What's their first message? Fear Yehovah and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come. Worship him. Not Yeshua. What's it called? It says his delight is in the fear of Yehovah. And he did not judge by the sight of his eyes, nor decide by the hearing of his ears. But now listen what it says. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity the meek of the earth. He's one of the L of the earth. It says he shall strike the earth with the rod of his what? His mouth. The breath of his lips. He shall slay the wicked. Oh, it brings tears to my eyes practically. I can feel the emotion rising up in me. No longer will they say, great is Yehovah who brought Israel's seed out of the land of Israel, but great is Yehovah who brought up Israel's seed out of all the places where he has scattered them. Woo! Do you want to be one of those men in these last days used of Yehovah? Oh, it's going to be amazing. You're going to tell your children's, your sons, this story for 1,000 years. But you got to be born again. God, we've learned so many lies. Well, that said, let's go to chapter 33. Let's go to 33. Here it is right here. Let me go back to my study notes. Now this is the blessing which Moses, and look what it says, the man of God blessed the children of Israel before his death. That's what it says. Okay, what does it really say? It says, now this is the blessing with which Moses, a man of the Elohim. Do you see the difference here? They put the definite article on the. But the isn't there where they say the man. And it is there. Actually, I could do this. And this is what I do often. We take, and I know that one's not there. And then I put a blank one here so I can see that it's missing there. This literally says, a man of the Elohim. Is there going to be lots of men of the Elohim in these last days? Okay, see, this is part of the shadow picture that we got to see. There's a bigger picture. Much of this that we're going to see today in 33, the blessings that Moses is going to give to Israel's seed, is hard to understand. But I think it has many last day ramifications. Next verse. 2. And he said, Yehovah came from Sinai and dawned on them from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000 of his saints. Okay, that's what it says in the New King James. From his right hand came a fiery law from them. This is really interesting. Look, it says Yehovah came from Sinai, dawned on them from Seir. Seir? Mount Paran? What's all that about? That's all Esau's land. Are we possibly being likened unto Esau in these last days? Remember, Esau took kings for himself, which were not kings from among the brethren, or not the ones from among the brethren. They always took kings from other nations. That's what we do. From what I hear, as far as Obama is concerned, that's he's not even a U.S. citizen. But the fact is, he's not one among the brethren. He's not. That's not Israel's. That's not Israel. That's the kingdom of the United States. It's one of the kingdoms of this world, one of the many kingdoms of this world. But it says he's coming with myriads. Okay, myriads of Kodesh. Myriads of Kodesh. They put 10,000 saints. From his right hand came a fiery law for them. Who are these myriad of holy ones? Is it possible that the ones who were taking the Passover are the ones that he's talking about? We would tend to think angels, perhaps. Maybe that's what we would think. Especially when they put 10,000. You know, they do 10,000 all the time for this word. But there's really not 10,000. It's myriads. It's a whole bunch. It's almost countless. We're going to see it again. We talk about Ephraim. Interesting that they use the same word there that they use here. What is the word they're using here? It is right here. Rebabah. Myriads. Myriads of holy ones. Myriads of Kodesh. Kodesh ones. The ones is added. Myriads of Kodesh. Again, I'm going to go back to Passover. Isaiah. Psalms. I'm sorry. You know what? This is why we don't get anywhere. Because I take these trails. But they're too important. I've got to show you these trails. If you don't see them, you won't learn them. 50 verse 5. Look what it says. Gather together my saints. Gather together my saints. This word actually is a little bit different words. They remember they call it holy ones. But here, his kind is what it means. Kasid, his kind. Gather together my kind. He's coming with myriads of his holy ones. It's us. Look what it says. Who cut covenant. Barith, cutting. Who cut a cutting with me by slaughter. Slaughter. That's what we're doing this weekend. Cutting a cutting but with him by slaughter. Entering into the covenant, if we're a ger, or if you're like me and Carrie, we're renewing our covenant with Yehovah for yet another year. He's coming with myriads of his holy ones, the ones who are like him, his kind. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. I hope that you have eyes that see. Going back. 32, 33, 2. Now we're on 33, 3. Look what he says. Yes, he loves. What does it say? Yes, he loves his peoples. His peoples. That's unusual. All his Kodeshim are in his hand, in thy hand, in his hand. And and to receive thy words they sat at thy feet. They're not sitting at the feet of Obama, the legislator, the mayors. They don't care what the news says. They don't care what laws they make. They sit at the feet of Yehovah. They hear his voice. I put like a humble son listening to his father. Look what it says, Deuteronomy 6. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart. In your where? In your mind? No, in your hearts. This is the second covenant. We've got Torah written on our hearts in these last days. He's pulling out men who love him with their heart and will do everything to follow only him. They're the ones that set the example for the rest of the world. You shall teach them diligently to your sons, not your children. You shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. I put, why is the plural on peoples in this verse? It's very unusual that he talks about peoples, his peoples. All his holy ones. Okay, it doesn't say his peoples, it just says peoples. But because it says all his holy ones, we know that we're talking about his peoples as his holy ones. Or the peoples is his holy ones, the peoples. Okay, it doesn't even say the peoples. Okay, they put the peoples because they wanted to put something they didn't want to put his. Because they want to make it all about Obama's peoples that can be a part of this. And what was the president Zuma, South African king, to be the person of this. Okay, he's got peoples. Obama's got peoples, but these are Yehovah's peoples. Why peoples? Okay, this is the qualitative. Remember, we talked about the quantitative plural in Hebrew and the qualitative people in, or the qualitative plural in Hebrew. This is an example of the qualitative people. They're his holy ones. Why are they his peoples? Because they are the great peoples. His son Israel. Oh my goodness. I put, or could indicate that those Ezra men who sat with him in the mountain, and all those Ezra men who would hear him in the future. Wow, look at that. I'm just really not a great speller, am I? H-E, let's fix that, A-R. Who would hear him in the future? Both work. I think it's the former. I think it's the former. Yeah, do you understand what I'm saying? So he talked to people at the mountain. He's talking to us today. Those are peoples, but I think it's the qualitative sense that we're talking about. He says here, this is for the latter one. I make a covenant. I make this covenant and this oath not with you alone, but with him who stands here and with us, who stands here with us today before Yehovah our Elohim, as well as him who is not here with us today. Okay, that's me. That's you, hopefully. That's Carrie. Neat stuff. 34. And Moses commanded a law for us, a heritage for the congregation of Jacob. And he was king in Yeshurun. Remember, Yeshurun is not a place. Yeshurun is a people. It's a singular people. It's his son, Yeshurun. He calls Israel Yeshurun. Now he's going to begin to give his blessing for each one of his sons. He's going to leave one of them out. Let me do this. I want to turn to topic notes. I've got a topic notes called 12. 12 sons of Jacob. Here they are, just so we can see what's going on here. I'll slide it down when the time comes for you. Let Reuben live and not die, nor let his men be few. Who are we talking about? His men. Men. This is the word. This is kind of unusual that you see this word for men. His mat. Properly an adult. By implication, a man. These are men. Let his men be few. Nor let his men be few. Not die. Nor let his men be few. Let him increase. That's it. That's all he says for Reuben. Next he moves on to Judah. And this he said to Judah. Hear Yehovah, the voice of Judah, and bring him to his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and may you be a help against his enemies. Again, that's all he's got to say about Judah. But now look at Levi. This is interesting. Let your Thummim and your Urim be with your Holy One. Your Holy One. Well, what is the word that they're using for here? It says, be to a man. Here it is. Be to a man. Again, we're not talking about women. There are no priests or Levites who are going to be women, is there? To Ish. Here's the word, to Ish. This is the word that they're translating with your holy one. Okay? It's actually to a man of thy kind. Look at the word. There it is, kasid. What were we just talking about? Gather together my kind. Gather together my kind, my seed. Those who have cut covenant with me by slaughter. Wow. You know, I wonder, is it possible? He talks about in Isaiah 66 that he's going to take some of these men and make them priests and Levites. Is it possible he's going to take all the men that he raises up in these last days to represent him, those who have the rod of their mouth, that he's going to make all of them Levites? Or is he going to use them for some other things as well? I think that he's going to take some of them as priests and Levites. Probably the most dedicated ones as priests and Levites, the ones who have learned his Torah, who have, Yeshua talks about those who had, they were given a talent, some were given 1 talent, some were given 2 talents, some were given 10 talents, and they went and invested their talents. Okay, I want to be one of those ones that's going to raise up spiritual seed all over the earth. I want to be one of the great ones. That's me. I've never really had a goal of making lots of money. I talk to people all the time. They make $5,000. I never made $5,000 in any month in my whole life. Never. But I've learned my Father's ways. I'm invested in the kingdom. So here we are. Let your Thummim and your Urim be with a man of thy kind. Okay, we're talking about the high priest. The high priest is the one who's going to have the Thummim and the Urim. He's going to be one who's entered into covenant with Yehovah. Oh, I already had, look at here, I have that verse that we just went through. Entered into covenant. Whom you tested at Massah, and whom you contended with at the waters of Meribah. What's he saying? These are men who have passed the test. The test that perhaps Moses didn't pass. Is it possible? That's what it looks like to me. Who says of his father and his mother, I have not seen them, nor did he acknowledge his brothers. What's he saying here? Let's go down. They said to his father and his mother, I have not seen him. And he was not acknowledged, and he has not acknowledged his own brothers, nor knew his son, for they have observed the words and your words and kept your covenants. This is so vague. There's many things in these blessings, if you want to call them blessings, these it's almost prophetic in my mind. Oftentimes I have to go back to my own life. They said to his father and his mother, I have not seen them. And he was not acknowledged by his brothers, nor knew his son, for they have observed your word and kept your covenant. Here's another translation. Of his father and mother, he said, I do not know them. He didn't acknowledge his brothers or children, for he observed your word and he kept your covenants. I know I've been isolated by my family. My children barely read. I don't even know that my children read anything that I write. I doubt my ex does. My folks, no, it ain't going to happen. He's talking about Levi. Moving on. Still talking about Levi. They shall teach Jacob your judgments, and Israel your law, your Torah. They shall put incense before you. Look at this. They put a whole burnt sacrifice on your altar. Okay, that word right here, sacrifice, is completely added. So just know, usually when you see the word sacrifice in your Bible, always when you see the word sacrifice in your Bible, it's an added word. It's not there. Okay, we're talking about whole burnt. Okay, this is something that's consumed, entirely consumed thing is the word that they're using here, kalil. Entirely consumed thing. They shall teach Jacob, your judgments, Israel, your law. Is he repeating himself? In a sense, I think he is. Is it maybe that he's teaching the ger? But he doesn't really teach the ger. We are the ones who teach the ger. Israel's seed teaches the ger who dwells with them, so that they can become Israel's seed themselves. We're going to see this when Yehovah raises up his people. Wait, I'll get to your question in just a second. Let me finish my thought here. They shall teach Jacob his judgments, and Israel your law. They shall put incense before you. Okay, who is it that puts incense before Yehovah? It's Levi. It's the priests that put incense before Yehovah. Specifically, the high priest that's going to do it. And whole burnt, entirely consumed thing. Okay? All the priests can put Israel's offerings, whether it be the Olah offering, which would be the entirely consumed thing, that would be the Olah offering. So to put burnt, the whole burnt, is kind of getting to the point of the Olah, because it's the whole thing that's burnt up except for the skin. But it's more than that, because it's the fat that they're going to bring also. They get to put that on there. Then it says, blessed. No, I put the only korban offering that is wholly consumed is the olah, or rising offering. Okay, that's the sweet aroma that goes up to Yehovah. I guess I put that as the incense is burned before him. Oh, that's neat. So we're talking about incense here. They shall put incense before you. What is the incense? Oh, that's really neat. I guess I forgot that I had discovered this. The incense that they put before Yehovah is that which rises up from the altar, from the slaughters that Israel's seed brings. So it's not really talking about incense. The incense that goes before Yehovah is what the priests put on the altar for Israel's son. Then it says, bless his substance, Yehovah, and accept the work of his hands. This is the priests working for us, Levi. Strike the loins of those who rise against him. The loins. Strike the loins of those who rise against him. Do you think that Moses sees the importance of what's going on with Levi? Remember, Moses is a Levite, isn't he? Strike the loins. I had to look at this. Loins. What is the loins? Strike the loins of those who rise against him, and those who hate him, that they rise not again. Don't mess with these holy ones, his kind, who have entered into covenant with him by slaughter. Masculine, dual meaning loins. Dual noun meaning loins. Waist, body, side. Okay, it's the strength. It's where our strength comes from. You know, when you learn martial arts skills, they're always talking about the strength comes from your stomach. That's the loins, your buttocks, your abdomen. That's where the strength is. And what is he saying? Strike the loins of those who rise up against you. Cut down the strength of those who rise up against you. They're coming in the flesh. Cut them off. Refers to the section of the human body which connects and supports the upper, the lower parts of the body, including the buttocks and lumbar region. Okay, they had a whole big thing on word study about what this loins is. The word is, I guess I didn't put it in there. Matan is actually the word that they had there, but this is plural, so it's mat. Matnayim is how you'd say that. It's the strength. Knock down their loins. We're talking about more than one. Now he's moving on to Benjamin. Of Benjamin he said, the beloved of Yehovah shall dwell in safety by him, who shelters him all the day, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. His shoulders. Sounds like he's almost being carried on his back, doesn't it? He's the baby. He's the baby brother. Look, he's the last one to come. This is the birth order right here. He was the last one to come, Benjamin, son of Rachel. He was the baby. When they were all doing their fighting, he wasn't doing any fighting. Joseph wasn't doing any fighting. It was the 10 brothers that did all the fighting when they fought the 7 cities of the Amorites. Ooh, that was an amazing story when we went through that in Torah. Woohoo, wow. And Yesher, that's right, Gary. 33:13 is Joseph. Think about this now. We were just talking about those men that are being raised up in the last days, those who have made those saints, they call them saints, those saints, his kind who cut covenant with him by slaughter. Now think of them as these guys. And of Joseph he said, blessed of Yehovah in his land. Joseph is going to be blessed of Yehovah in his land. Who was Joseph? We've got to ask ourselves, go back to the history, ask yourselves, what do we know about Joseph? He's Israel's firstborn from Rebekah. In a sense, he's kind of the spiritually firstborn also. Look at what it says. He's the brother who was persecuted by his brethren, by his brothers. Was he the firstborn spiritually? Remember, he's the one that was getting dreams, wasn't he? He was the one that was loved by his father. He was the one who was used by Yehovah to deliver his people from famine. And how does the coat of many colors fit into this picture? I wonder if the coat of many colors may be Yehovah raising up the servants in these last days from all the tribes and nations and tongues. They're all different colors, aren't they? Could that be a shadow picture of men from other nations coming and being used by Yehovah, like Joseph, to deliver his people? I think it could be. Could it have long-term fulfillment as the firstborn of many nations that he will use in these last days? You understand what I'm saying? There's people coming like Carrie and I, firstborn from many nations. I've got friends in South Africa. I've got friends all over the world who are rising up even now and becoming these firstborn men. They're all different colors. He says his land is being watered from above and beneath. Look what it says. Blessed of Yehovah is his land, with precious things of heaven, with dew, and with deep lying beneath. What's he talking about? He's talking about water coming down from heaven, water precipitating on his land, and water underneath his land. His land is fruitful, blessed of Yehovah. 14. With precious fruits of the sun. His crops are blessed. With precious produce of the months. With the best things of the ancient mountains. With the precious things of the everlasting hills. I think there's gold in them hills, is what we're talking about. Precious metals, gold, silver, and other precious metals. Maybe precious stones as well. He goes on with precious things of the earth and its fullness. I put jewels, spices. What are the precious things that come from the earth? This is what Joseph is going to get. Is this a man who has sown spiritual things instead of flesh things? You know what? You're not going to find any of the baseball players here. I can't even think of a single baseball player or basketball player. Michael Jordan. I think of somebody. You know, where is he putting up his treasure? All these guys, where are they storing their treasures? The CEOs of these gigantic corporations, yeah, they may be blessed now. Why do the wicked prosper? Well, they prosper for a time, but like the grass, it passes away. With the precious things of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwells in the bush. Who dwells in the bush? Yehovah dwells in the bush. Let the blessing come on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. This is a man, Joseph is a man who stood out, perhaps, among his brothers. So much so that he was rejected by his brothers. They wanted to follow Yeshua. They wanted to do all their normal things. But Joseph saw something more. His glory, still talking about Joseph, his glory shall be like a firstborn bull. Look at, I've got the whole thing in red. It's just so perverted. I had to go back and kind of rewrite this. Oftentimes, many times when I'm reading something, I'll think, Daddy doesn't talk like that. My papa doesn't say things like that. We got to know Yehovah. That's the goal. Know Yehovah. That's why we learn Torah. So that we would get better understandings. So, New King James, his glory is like the firstborn bull, and his horns like the horns of a wild ox. Together with them he shall push the peoples to the ends of the earth. They are the myriads of Ephraim and the thousands of Manasseh. So let's take a look at some of the Hebrew in this. Here's my translation. I put the firstborn, the glory of the firstborn. Okay, it says the glory is like. Okay, added words. But they don't know what to do with it because they don't understand the spiritual birth. I put the firstborn of his herd. Of his herd. This is what we're talking about. Firstborn of his herd. Who's the herd? It's the flock that is under Yehovah. But they call it a herd. Why do they call it a herd? Because we're talking about an ox. Why are we talking about an ox? Okay, one thing leads to the other. We're going to have to follow the train of thought to understand what he's saying about Joseph here. The firstborn, and again, we're talking about spiritual birth, the firstborn of his herd. Glory is his. Israel was talked about as an ox, slurping up the grass of Moab and the grass of Canaan. Does a grass have any defense against an ox? No. This is what we're talking about. So what does he say? The glory is his. His. Could this be the 144,000? You see how so many of these can fit into it. And with his horns he shall gore the peoples. His horns. His strength. It's Yehovah's strength that he's doing it with. Together to the ends of the earth. They are the myriads of Ephraim. Myriads. There's the same word that we were talking about above when we were talking about myriads of holy ones. Myriads of Ephraim and thousands of Manasseh. Here's the words that they're using. Myriads is that word that we were talking about. Rabbah. And they are Manasseh's thousands. They are the thousands. They're the myriads. These are the things that says myriads. This is and They, this says they, are the thousands. The elef, thousands. But it's plural, thousands. No, it's not plural. Thousands. It's how do you say this? It's kind of like B'nai. Aleph, Manasseh. Manasseh's thousands. But it's like it's Israel's seed. It's possessive. Then Israel, let me move this up. Then Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head. This is talking about the blessing. I really questioned about the Manasseh. Ephraim, remember, we're talking about Joseph. But Joseph is divided, isn't he? He's divided between two tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. Manasseh was the eldest, but Ephraim got the blessing. The blessing. Remember, what's the blessing? Okay, the blessing is not something that my father doesn't have a blessing to give me. He's got the firstborn status to give me if he did that. Okay, the double portion. But I'm the only son now, so I would get it all. But that ain't going to happen in my house, I guarantee you that. But the blessing is about a spiritual blessing. The blessing comes from a spiritual man, the head of the church, if you will, the people of Elohim, gives the blessing to the new rod holder. Let's say it like that to give you the idea. When Noah gave the blessing, he gave it to Shem. Shem gave it to Abraham. Abraham gave it to Joseph, or to Isaac, and Isaac gave it to Jacob, who was Israel, who, again, remember, it passed down to Moses. Okay, we're talking about the blessing. You gave the blessing. See, you couldn't have given, they always talk about Joseph stealing the blessing from Esau. Esau is a complete man of the flesh. He was never intended to have the blessing. He wouldn't lead Yehovah's people in the way they were supposed to go. No, it had to be Jacob that got it. But see, I think Isaac was getting a little senile at that time to even consider giving the blessing. The blessing! Oh my gosh! God forbid Esau would ever get the blessing. No, it had to go to Jacob. His mom knew that. 2 nations are within your room. The older shall serve the younger. She knew what the prophecy was. Okay, so here Manasseh was superseded by Ephraim in getting the blessing. Then Israel stretched out his right hand, laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger. Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, guiding his hands knowingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. Here's a firstling of the herd. This is another translation of this particular verse, the firstling of the herd. Just to let you know that I'm not so far off, I put the firstborn of the herd. He says the firstling of the herd and his horn. So you can see that I'm not out there. There's others who agree with what I'm saying. I know what my Father's word says. Look at what he says. He shall consume the nations, his enemies. He shall break their bones. Oh, actually, this is not the same one. This is it right here. Firstling of the herd, majesty is his, glory is his. And his horns, remember, we're talking about who? We're talking about Joseph. And his horns are the horns of a wild ox. There's the wild ox. With them he shall push the peoples, all of them, even to the ends of the earth. They are the 10,000s of Ephraim and the thousands of Manasseh. Well, here's Numbers 24 talking about the ox, I believe. Yes. Elohim brings him out of Egypt. He has strength like a wild ox. This is why we're talking about the firstborn of the herd. He shall consume the nations. His enemies shall break shall break their bones and pierce them with arrows. Elohim brings them out of Egypt. He has strength like a wild ox. Here's another one from Numbers 22. Look what it says. So Moab said to the elders of Midian. This is Moab this is the heathen talking to the heathen. Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this company will lick up everything around us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field. And Balak, the son of Zippor, was the king of the Moabites at that time. But what defense does grass have against a wild ox? Do you want to be Israel, or do you want to be part of the grass? The grass withers, fades away, and is forgotten forever. Don't be like the grass. Be like the ox. And Zebulun, he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. You know what? You can't do much with these until you realize that it doesn't say going out. It says goings. Goings. In thy goings out. Or perhaps travels. Or perhaps leavings. Is it possible we're talking about the qualitative plurals again? These are plural words that we're talking about. Out. Goings out. Leavings. They're plural forms. Tents is plural. Remember, Jacob dwelt in tents. We saw that in Genesis 25. Well, how many tents can a man dwell in? Well, it wasn't that he dwelt in tents. It meant that he dwelt in the big top. He dwelt under Yehovah's authority and his jurisdiction. He dwelt, I like it, under the big top. The heavens. He shelters the heavens over them. It says something like that in, I believe it's Isaiah 40. Sits on the circle of the earth and covers the heavens like a tent over them, it says. Oh, let's go there because we're talking about Issachar dwelling in tents. Let's take a look at it real quick, just for the fun of it. Isaiah, I'm sure it's Isaiah 40. I'll be disappointed if it's not, because I don't know how I can get to it quickly otherwise. Let's see. Toward the end, I suppose. Here, stretches out the heavens. Here it is. It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. That's the ohel. The ohel. This is ohalim, like a ohel to drop in. This is the ohalim, the plural tense, the big top that Jacob dwells in. It's the ohalim. Let's go back to that verse. You can see the word. It's the ohalim that is, oh, I didn't grab it with me. Here it is. Ahal. Aleph, Hey, Lamed. Ohel, Ahel, Ahel, Ohel. That's Ohel. In, this says in, the bet says in, and this says plural, and then it's thy tents. This is Zebulun's tents. Zebulun is dwelling in the big top, and his brother, Zebulun, Issachar is dwelling in the tents. Zebulun is the one that's blessed in his goings. I wonder if that's in his goings out of his kingdom of his birth, perhaps. What is he leaving? What are his goings? We always talk about the blessings and the curses. Blessed are you coming in, blessed are you going out. And Yehovah, Moses said, I'm 120 years old. I can't come out anymore. There's more to understand here. Let's move on. 19. They, who's they? Zebulun and Ishkar. They shall call peoples to, well, again, definite articles being added that aren't supposed to be there. Words, sacrifices, being added that aren't supposed to be there. We've got to dig deeper. We have to look at what the Hebrew actually says. Here's the translation I came up with. They shall call peoples to a mountain. Remember, he's raising us up like a banner on the mountain. These are the people that are being raised up in the last days. They shall call peoples to a mountain. Peoples. Oh, that's so interesting that they would make it peoples, not people. Peoples. They shall call peoples, not the peoples, peoples. The peoples come to us and become the people of Yehovah. They shall call peoples to the mountain. There they shall, look at the word, they put, offer sacrifices. Oh, brother, how can we be so blind? We just don't understand this word, slaughter. We enter into covenant with Yehovah by slaughter. We slaughter the things that we eat. The meat that we eat is the meat that we slaughter. They are slaughtering slaughters. They slaughter slaughters of righteousness. Slaughter slaughters of righteousness. They're doing the things, eating the things, killing the things that they're supposed to eat in the correct way. They shall call people to a mountain. There they shall slaughter slaughters of righteousness. For from the resources of the seas they shall be nourished, and the treasures hidden in the sand. What are we talking about here? I think it's all about metaphors. Mountains, seas, sand all seem to be metaphors. They are, think about this. They're dwelling, how do they say it? From the resources of the seas, they shall be nourished. They shall suck. Here's the word they use, yanak, suck. Almost like a suckling baby. They're being nourished by the sea. For from the resources of the seas they shall be nourished. The seas, remember the seas, we're talking about bodies of water, seas. We're talking about, generally in prophecy, we're talking about nations. The strength of the world, the power of the world, the riches of the world, in this case. They're being nourished by the seas. Are these perhaps men who have substance, perhaps trust funds, perhaps some kind of substance that is coming to Yehovah in these last days and are providing the funds that are going to be needed for Israel? Just a thought. The sands seem to, they put the treasures hidden in the sand. Treasures hidden in the sand. Sand's still related to the sea, isn't it? It's kind of like they're dwelling on the edge. They're not in the sea, they're on the edge of the sea. Maybe Israel's further out, but they're close. Still been able to draw nourishment to Israel. Just a thought. Again, these are vague, so it's hard sometimes to know what to do with these things. I spent a long time going through each one of these blessings for each one of these men, each one of these tribes. Let's go to 20. And of Gad he said, blessed is he who enlarges Gad. He dwells like a lion, tears the arms and the crown of his head. He provides the first part for himself, because a lawgiver's portion was reserved there. Oh, you see how hard this is to understand? He came with the heads of the people. Heads of the people, his people. He administered the justice of Yehovah and his judgments with Israel. Do you remember what it said? Isaiah 11. He gives, let's go there. Let's go there. It always helps for you to see it. Isaiah 11. Look what he says. He gives, his delight is in the fear of Yehovah. He shall not judge by the sight of his eyes, nor decide by the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity the meek of the earth. Does that sound like the 144,000? Doesn't all these sound like the 144,000? The servants of Yehovah? Let's go back. Take a look at it again. 33:20. And of Gad, blessed is he who enlarges Gad. He provides the first part up for himself. Let me just go through these one by one. It's easier to understand if we do it verse by verse. Blessed is he who enlarges Gad. He dwells like a lion, as a lion, and tears the arm of a crown. Here I put, and of Gad he said, blessed is he who enlarges Gad. Gad crouches like a lion. He tears off arm and scalp. He crouches. Remember, we talked about, no, I guess that was Dan. This says he's crouching like a lion, tearing off arm and scalp. Gad can be enlarged in two ways, by seed and by land. So we can enlarge Gad by having more seed, more men in Gad, but Gad can also be enlarged by enlarging his territory, his land. Just like a lion gets a bigger portion as he gets older. He's got a bigger field to hunt in. This seems to be land that he is talking for himself, but it might be both. Yeah, I think it tends to be land because of what it's going to say in the next verse. Look what he says in the next verse. He provides the first part for himself. I got another translation. He provides the first part for himself. For there, the ruler's portion was reserved. The ruler. Remember when we took Midian? We went to war with the Midianites. There was 12,000 men, 1,000 from every tribe, that went to war with the Midianites. We brought back the women and the children and the flocks and the booty. And then Yehovah or Moses said, what are you bringing back these women for? These are the women that did this. So anyone who had been with a man, they were killed. Now all there was the virgin women left, and all the boys were killed. We didn't keep the boys. We kept the virgins. Then we divided up the virgins half and half. Half to the men who went to war, and half to Israel as a whole. Now maybe there was even another portion in there because the priests and the Levites got a large portion also. But it worked out to where they got basically the first portion, the ones who went to war. They got the greater portion. And I wonder if this is what it's talking about here, because the lawgiver's portion was received there. They provided the first part for himself, because the lawgiver's portion was reserved there. He came with the heads of the people. He came with the heads of the people. Who are the heads of the people? Are they the heads of his tribe? Are they the heads of all the tribes of Israel? I don't know that for sure. For there the ruler's portion was reserved. He came with the leaders of the people. It doesn't say the leaders of Gad. It says the leaders of the people. He executed justice of the justice of Yehovah and his ordinances with Israel. Talking about Dan. He goes on. Oh no, that was Gad. Now we're talking about Dan. Dan. Here's Dan. Dan's a short one. And Dan, he said, Dan is a lion's whelp. He shall leap from Bashan. Leap from the Bashan. It actually says Bashan. Now, Bashan, because they treat it as a place, it's the capital city, Bashan. Remember, Og was the king of Bashan. It was a place, but there was also a city named Bashan. And because it's a place, a proper noun, ancient Hebrew lexicon of the Bible doesn't even address it. That he never addresses proper nouns. Word study has this in it, and so this is what it had: a proper noun designating Bashan, the name of a region east of the Jordan, ruled by Og, king of Bashan. Okay, but this is the Bashan, Bashan. And I wonder if this is talking about he shall leap from the east. The east. Are these perhaps people coming from India, China? Perhaps. I don't know. East. The east. Now, when I looked at this and I considered, perhaps it's the east. That's what I put. Then I saw the next verse. Look what it says in the very next verse about Naphtali. It says, and of Naphtali, he said, O Naphtali. It never says it just says Naphtali. Naphtali desires with favor the full blessing of Yehovah, possesses the west and the south. Well, so here we have potentially the east, and now in the very next verse we have the west and the south. To possess the west and the south. I don't think I put to possess. I'm not sure what it says. I didn't look it up. West and the south. Again, what do you do with this? I don't know. I don't know. And of Asher. Asher is most blessed of sons. Who's Asher? Look at where Asher falls in. Asher is the son of Zilpah, second born of Zilpah. But yet, look what it says. And Asher, he is said, and of Asher, he said, Asher is most blessed of sons. Most blessed of sons. Let him be favored by his brothers. Let him dip his foot in oil. Your sandals shall be like iron and bronze. Now, I could use some sandals like that. Mine are always wearing out. As your days, so shall your strength. Your sandals. Is there sandals related to health and length of days, I wonder? Are they using that as kind of a metaphor, a shadow picture, whatever? I guess a metaphor. Your sandals shall be iron and bronze, and your days shall be your strength. Remember, sandals wear out by the earth. We talked about the earth being bronze and iron. Well, here's the sandals being bronze and iron. As your days, so your strength. Here, sounds like they get long life and good health. As your days, so your strength. Well, that was the end. We're moving on now. And remember, this is the wrap up. This is the wrap up of Torah. We have to understand these verses in the context of the whole. Moses is getting ready to die in the very next chapter. He is giving us things that's going to give us life. But we've got to understand how it all fits together. Now he's continuing on. He's going to speak to the whole. He says, they say, this is the New King James, there is no one like the God of Yeshurun, okay, who rides the heavens for help and his excellency on the clouds. Well, they got that right, the clouds. Let's take a look at maybe another way to understand this. It says, none like, they put, there is no one like the El, like the God of Jeshurun. Here's what it says. None like El of Yeshurun. That's it. None like El of Yeshurun. In his majestic cloud. His majestic cloud, here it is. This is, where is it? Cloud, here it is. Powder. This is the skies, the Shamim. He rides heavens to thy aid. Here's my translation. In his majestic cloud, he rides heavens to thy aid. Where does Yehovah dwell? Here's where he dwells, right here. In the shakak, the powder, the vapor, the firmament. It's in the clouds, in the skies. Remember, the heavens is where the birds fly. The heavens is where the cloud is. We've seen this over and over, that Yehovah dwells in the clouds. I showed it to you last week or the week before. Majestic cloud. Okay, it's clouds. This is not a cloud. This is a clouds. They actually put it, excellency on the clouds. Well, it's not clouds, plural, quantitative. It's clouds, plural, qualitative. The great big exalted cloud. This is what we're talking about. The majestic cloud. Majestic cloud. The glorious cloud that Yehovah, the King, the El of Yeshurun dwells in. You see the wrap up that we're hearing here? Great is Yehovah, who dwells in the cloud and helps Yeshurun, comes to Yeshurun's aid. Singular, Yeshurun, Israel. It's the nice, the loving name that he has for his dear son, his heir, his Ezra man. The eternal Elohim is your refuge. Who's he talking to? The Ezra man, Israel's seed. The eternal Elohim is thy refuge. And underneath are the everlasting arms, or it's really underneath his everlasting arms. He will thrust out the enemy before thee and say, destroy! That's what he's going to tell us in these last days. Go after them, take them out, just like we did in Canaan. Destroy! Then, after that's done, Israel will dwell safely. The fountain of Jacob alone. Fountain of Jacob. Is that a euphemism for those that come out of Jacob's loins, perhaps? Sounds like it. In the land of grain and new wine. Wow. Hear that? The land of grain and new wine. This is a land that he's going to give us that's going to be plush. It's going to be the whole earth this time. Not just Israel. It's going to be the whole earth. Look at what he says. His heavens shall also drop dew. Wouldn't it be cool if we went back to the kind of the antediluvian world where everybody lived 1,000 years, and we didn't have the rains and the different seasons so much. We had this growing season and the waters out above and below the earth. Ooh, that would be so cool. I don't know if it'll happen again, but who knows? Then Israel shall dwell safely, the fountain of Jacob alone. In a land of grain and new wine, his heavens shall also drip dew. The heavens, remember, that's where the rain comes from. That's where the birds fly. Happy are you, O Gentiles. Is that what it says? No. Happy are you, O Israel, O spiritually born men. Who is like you? A people saved by Yehovah. Are there going to be Gentiles saved of Yehovah? No, you guys, don't go there. You learn lies. Happy are you. Happy are thee. Look at it. They use the singular masculine second person. Happy are thee, O Israel. Who is like you? The thee is a people saved of Yehovah. Moses was one of the thee. Noah was one of the thee. When Noah was saved because he walked with Elohim, everybody who went with him, his women and children, or his woman and his sons and their wives, who were also bone of their bone, flesh of their flesh, were saved also. But were they saved because they walked with Elohim, or were they saved because they were Israel? They were the ones who walked with Elohim. Okay, there's a bigger picture. We got to learn it. He says, last verse. Happy are you, O Israel, who is like thee? Who is like thee, a people saved of Yehovah? Where did I get that J? I must have taken that from another translation. It says, a shield, Yehovah, shield. It doesn't say the. There's no definite article there. We got to understand it differently. It's not the shield. It's not the sword. A people saved by Yehovah, shield of thy help and sword of thy triumph. Yehovah is the shield of thy help. Yehovah is the sword of thy triumph. And thine deceptive enemies, lying, cheating, stinking enemies, shall submit themselves unto thee. And thou shalt tread upon their high places. What are the high places that we're going to tread upon in these last days? The high places are where all of their Elohim dwell. That's the high places. The courthouses, the legislative buildings, the churches. Oh, the churches are all going to go down. Every one of those Christian churches, they're all going down. The places where the Elohim relied. Are you relying on your pastor to give you the truth? Or are you looking to the word of Yehovah to find the truth? Okay, I'm not telling you to believe me. I'm telling you to believe Yehovah. He is the Elohim on the mountain. Listen to him. Be happy. You people saved by Yehovah. Your enemies shall submit to you, and you shall tread down their high places. Well, that's the end of this chapter. This is what we're talking about for these last days. We are going to tread down the high places. Oh, it's all over. It's all over the scriptures. You guys, bless your heart. Thank you for joining me today. You know what? The average person listens to these videos for 18 minutes. Are you going to be average? You know what? The people who are here today stayed the whole day. They are people who want to learn the truth. I was down for about 5 minutes. They stayed. They didn't leave. It takes time to renew our mind. It takes time to learn a new way of thinking. I can help you learn a new way of thinking. I hope that you will give me that chance. Soon we're going to start from Genesis 1 again. Man, if you can get to Genesis 1 and start that with me, you are going to get a new attitude, a new way of thinking, a new way of looking at Yehovah's word that's going to change your life. But it requires the time to learn and to grow and to renew your mind and your actions to Yehovah, set apart, eternal, and unchanging ways. Will you do it? That's my prayer for you. Every night I'm on my knees right here saying, Father, please let the seed that went into their minds today grow in their hearts. Let it fall on good ground. Let it bring forth fruit of righteousness. And let it begin to bring forth more fruits. Other men just like them. That's my prayer for you every night. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth right now. Yehovah is raising up. He's going to do it this weekend. Could this be the year that the nation is born in a day? Can't be one of the great ones once the nation is born in a day. All you can do is join yourself to the great ones once the nation is born in a day. Okay, this is probably not going to be the year. I don't think we're there yet. There's too many things that have to happen. But it could be. And you're SOL as far as being one of those men if you didn't keep Passover this year. You do have a second Passover. If you didn't keep first Passover, could you keep second Passover? Isn't it interesting that Yehovah is so good to us that he gives us a second chance to become the heir? Wow. Wow. That's a loving Elohim. Okay, well, folks, thank you for joining me today. Please listen to my videos. Love you tons. Bye now.